Well, welcome everybody. We're back to the Whoop UCI Mountain Bike World Series after a short break. And today we are joined here in Loudenvielle in the Hautes-Pyrénées from Track Factory Racing, Loudenvielle, the new elite men's world champion. We also have Marine Cabirou from Scott Downhill Factory, with us Richie Rude from Yeti Fox Racing, and also from La Pierre Zip Collective, Isabeau Cordurier. And we'll start right now with the press conference. First and foremost, welcome everybody. I hope you did get some time off during our short break, except for our downhillers who were racing last weekend, and some of them raced at the European Championships a few weeks ago. We're going to start with Marine. Marine, you are third right now on the World Cup, and you've had a how can I say, a bit of a slow momentum the last few races. It's been a bit more difficult, including Worlds. Tell us, how are you feeling right now? How are you dealing with that?
Yeah, I feel really good actually. Last week was not my best week. I feel good during the training and did a really shitty run during the race. I think it was a bit difficult to manage with the pressure and everything. So not the best race of my life, but now I turn a page and I'm ready for this new week.
You spoke briefly about how Worlds didn't quite turn out the way you wanted it to. What kind of analysis have you done over the last week? How have you approached that analysis?
I think it was really one of my goals this season, maybe a bit too much, so I give maybe too many pressure on it, so just didn't go what planned at the beginning. So yeah, I take a step back to analyze everything, and I saw what the mistake I made, so now it's all okay, and I'm really focused for this new race.
This course was a bit of an enigma for a lot of riders last year. First to you, Marine, and Loris, I'll ask you the same question. What does it take to win here? What's the magic solution?
I don't know if there is a magic solution. It's always hard to have the perfect solution to win a race. It's always a big fight with all the girls or for the men. Every race is so tight this year, so we have to give our best every time and have the perfect run to win. So when you do too many mistakes, you know you're gone. The level is so high this year, so we just have to be perfect to win.
Loris, your take on that, this course?
I wish I knew. No, it's quite difficult. The top is flat and the bottom is really steep, and you need to be fast on both to compete. We saw last year Loic was faster up top and a bit slower at the bottom, and it still worked. Everything works, and yeah, as long as you go really fast. So hopefully we see a good battle this week. But yeah, this track is different than others, and it's also cool to watch.
Sec ou mouillé, dry or wet?
For sure, wet is harder, but I think with the weather we will have to race on wet, but dry for sure better for me.
Loris?
Yeah, dry.
Loris, we'll now move over to you. You waited a long time, many years. You were so close so many times. Oh, how that must have felt so good sitting up there. It was a special moment, you know, when you put your hand on your head and it was like, damn it, I've done it, you know. What went through your mind? Tell us about how, when you saw Louis go down and you realized, hey, I've done it, what was your feeling at that moment?
At that moment, it was a childhood dream, becoming reality. Never thought it would happen this year. I'm always kind of okay fast in Andorra, so I knew it was a chance, and I tried to put everything together to be as fast as I could. I wasn't the fastest speed-wise, but on that day with the crashes and everything, I was the fastest, and it changed my life really. I can write it down and say I'm a world champion, which is weird to say really. But yeah, it's definitely not the year I expected, and it felt even stronger as a feeling because it was not out of nowhere, but so far from, it was super hard the weeks before, like being injured, and came from a long way, and feeling that was incredible.
Well, we saw last week, it happened, you know, basically almost in your backyard. You're very used to a lot of French fans there, you're used to riding there and all that. But did you have time to really this last week to savor it, to kind of sit back with a cup of coffee and say, wow, I'm a world champion? Has it sunk in?
We didn't have much time, so that's why I'm like already trying to move on. Sadly, like you need to move on and be like, okay, we are at the races. We just walked the track. It's dangerous to be not focused. So, it was a few days, and I don't think it was enough to really be able to enjoy it. But yeah, it was already good enough, and we were spending great time with like my family and friends and just chilling. Hopefully, yeah, the next few days we can just switch and try to race.
Move into it. We know you and Loic have been good friends for a long time. The minute he crossed the line, his first thing, you kind of jumped off the podium. He went beelined it right for you, jumped in your arms, and as a good friend, as a staunch competitor, what were the first words that he said in the heat of the moment to you when he's like, what did he say? Man, you're the world champion, this is great. How did that come out?
The first thing he checked was like who was on the podium on the hot seat, and he looked at me and he was like, no way, like thinking you, and I saw his eyes like being happy, like he crashed, and obviously it's not what he wanted, but the next thing he wanted, if he couldn't win, was for me to win, and I could see in his eyes, and he didn't need words, like it was just pure joy for some reason, which was even crazier for me because I expected him to be in tears, which he wasn't. Like he just hugged me and was happy for me, and it was a great friendship for the best.
Having the jersey, the rainbow jersey, the title, as in all sports, not just in mountain biking, for certain people it's a really, really heavy responsibility to carry, and sometimes things don't work out. For others, it gives them wings and they just become a different rider. How is Loudenvielle feeling towards that? Is it a burden or is it wings, or are they wings?
I think it might be burdened this year because obviously it's unexpected and I didn't really have time to, adapt to it. But hopefully it's going to be a motivation for this winter to click things and make professional decision to make a better Loudenvielle for next year. And it's going to hopefully fuel the fire for this winter and come back swinging next year. That's the goal.
Move over to our enduro crew. Richie, you've been at the top of the world. You know what it feels like. What is it like to stand up there and like, I'm the best in the world?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't quite been able to have our own world championships yet, but we're gonna have that next week. But I bet it'll feel pretty amazing. Like, we watched the race at home, and it was so amazing to see Loris win. And honestly, I feel like it's a bit different for us sometimes with some overalls, but it definitely feels pretty amazing to that you're number one. But on the other hand, I can't quite imagine what it would feel like to be on the top of world championship podium.
You've been on world championship podium.
Yeah, once before,
in front of me.
with Loris. Yeah.
That was a good match. You guys picked up on it. Isabeau, next week's going to be kind of special because you guys have your first kick at the can to wear rainbow stripes in enduro. How are you feeling about that?
I feel like it was a long wait. Since enduro went to an international and professional level, everyone was kind of looking at the rainbow jersey in the other disciplines, and it's magic, I guess. And we all dream about it for sure. So definitely, I think it's a big step for enduro, and I'm super proud. I'm still racing and able to do it next week. So I think it'll be special.
Richie, one of the things that's, you won the overall last year in France again. We're finishing up in France again. Things are going down to the wire once again with Jesse. It went to the wire last year with Jesse and Alex. Are you feeling a bit more confident this year? We look at the standings, it's still squeaky tight.
Yeah, definitely a little less stressful this year. I think last year I had to get fifth if Jesse or Alex won, and that definitely went down to a bit of the wire last year. I wasn't, exactly fast in the first half of the race, but obviously got that done. But this year it's feeling a little more confident and a bit more wiggle room at this race, so a bit more like happy vibes going into this, and pretty excited to get started tomorrow.
Well, for someone that's raced here before, what do you appreciate the most about these stages and these trails around here?
Yeah, I think it has a good variety. Like we race on two sides of the valley, and they kind of have a different style of track. And yeah, it's always really fun to race or to practice and race. But yeah, it's tricky to go fast. Like the French riders here always seem to find a couple seconds on you, and yeah, that's kind of the tough part about it. But I always find them really fun to ride and race, so it should be fun.
Do you find pretty much that when you show up here for races, is about this kind of duplicity of the two sides of the valleys that are very different geology-wise even?
Yeah, I think here it's really nice because there is a huge difference in between all of the stages. And for me, what is even like a step above when riding in Loudenvielle is that the weather is like strongly affecting the riding, and you never know what to expect. Like today was quite okay on some of the stages. Tomorrow, with the rain, it might get like completely wet and super hard to race. And I feel this is the trick here is not to only focus on line choices, stuff like that. You really need to adapt every single time on the conditions on track, and that's the spirit of enduro. So truly for me, Loudenvielle is one of the venues that summarize what enduro is, the trails we are riding, the adaptations that goes into it, and being ready for anything.
Richie, when it comes to this final battle, Svacek or Slavomir, depending on how you want to call him, is definitely your biggest threat when it comes to the overall standings. But Charles Murray has really, showed that he has the stuff it takes to become an overall winner and maybe a world champion one day. What do you think it's going to take to really seal the deal here on this different type of stages, as you said, between the two valleys?
Yeah, I think I guess kind of if you can limit any sort of mistakes tomorrow and just kind of ride at pretty consistent pace on some of the stages. Yeah, our stage 2 tomorrow there's a lot of clay in the dirt, and it can be really grippy in some bits and then not in a lot. So it's going to be making sure looking ahead and really kind of anticipating what's going to change in track conditions, and especially not knowing the weather exactly, but getting through a couple of lows, and I think for me just being strong on a couple of ones on the other side of the valley. I can't remember the numbers, but I think I'm just gonna try and be as consistent as I can tomorrow and kind of push and not go push too hard and have any mistakes. So
Does any of that consistency, because you do have a lot of consistency as a rider, if we look at your results over the last few years, you've been riding a lot of downhill also this season. Do you do that as a training method, testing equipment, a bit of both, or is it just for the love of the sport?
Yeah, it was mainly because I wanted to get back into it and ride it when I can. And I think on the other side of it, it's kind of helped me, I guess, to push a bit harder, because the speed and the commitment's a bit different than enduro. And I think being quite consistent, it's been good to try and push me a bit harder, not just get in an enduro flow mindset, kind of actually attack a lot of the track. And I think that's helped a bit this year.
So will you be battling against Lois again next year?
Bit farther back,
Isabeau, the battle this year with Harriet, Ella Connolly, Morgan, it's ferocious. And once again, looking at the standings earlier on, is there any aspects of these two valleys or two sides of the valleys that are an advantage for you compared to the other riders?
To be honest, I think, like Richie said, here it's quite tricky and you can make some mistakes, and it's for everyone the same. So I guess I'll just try to really focus on myself and on my riding. And especially with such a tight overall, I don't want to get too much into the pressure of thinking about it. And especially because it's one of my last races as full-time professional, I don't want to get into this thinking, because I think I will miss out on really enjoying each second of my racing. So I guess for me, really the goal tomorrow is to go out and to be true to myself and to my riding. And I just want to go with this vibe, and that's what I did today during practices, and I felt super good, super happy, just happy to ride my bike here and to have fun. And basically tomorrow is the same, but a bit faster, I guess.
Your best memory of this illustrious career you've had? What's that moment that stands out?
It's quite hard to only pick one memory, but it's always quite surprising when I say this to people, but it's actually when I went through the darkest time of my life after losing my father. I came back racing in Canada. I was absolutely not sure to even start, but I did, and actually all of the other races really supported me, as well as the community, and I ended up winning that race in Canada. And I truly felt the love of everyone, and I think it's absolutely, for me, the most emotional moments I ever had in enduro, and that's why I think if I need to pick only one memory, it'll be this one.
I'll go back to Loris and to Marine. We're in France. Everybody knows the French crowd, and Isabeau touched on it. How much does it affect your performances? Maybe in Léger, Lourdes in the past, La Bresse way back when, Miribel, for those that were there in 2014. It's a special moment, but as French riders wearing the tricolore, what does it mean to you?
It's always special to race in France for sure, because the crowd is always amazing and support us like never. So we always want to give us what they need to, what they give you, what they give us. So we always give our best, and when we win, it's always more special.
Loris?
Yeah, exactly. I think the result is even prettier. Like, it feels better when you do it in France for some reason. Like, on the podium is just the nicest thing. Like, yeah, the crowd is pushing you to go fast, and when you give them the results, and yeah, it's just the best feeling. But yeah, it comes with also a pressure then, because you want to do well, and depending the venue, like, and you feel like you can't do well, it's tougher. But usually, like, Léger is one of the best races, and Lourdes back then was crazy, and yeah, every time it's in France, it's crazy.
Yeah, and especially in Liège, when you're on the hot seat, they're literally pushing you. Richie, I'm going to ask you, as a foreigner, as an American, you've raced a lot in France, you know what the crowds are like. They honestly, I think, in my personal opinion, seeing this for the last decade and more, they do also give you wings as foreign athletes. They really cheer you on, they make a lot of noise. Does it help you in your performance when the crowd's just going berserk? And you've lived it in downhill and you've lived it in enduro.
Yeah, I think always the crowd helps to push you a bit. Whenever you get in a section and there's a lot of people there, you tend to, maybe let off the brakes a little bit and keep going. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit inspiring, especially when you watch like the downhill and everything, and there's so many people, it gets you fired up.
Cool. Well, that's all I have. Thank you very much, everybody. It's very, very interesting. Do we have any questions from the room? Est-ce qu'on a des questions de la salle?
Just had one quick one for Lawrence. We've seen Dakota, similar to you, very close, but never quite winning a World Cup just yet. Is there any message that you'd have for him about trying to stay motivated? I think he looked a bit defeated after his crash, like on the very last corner of World Champs. And what would you say to him after now, being at the top?
I think we all see what could happen. Any races really, like he's been pushing the limit every races, and he could have won couple. So I think he just needs to believe what everything sees. He's got the speed. It's just a matter of time. It's weird to say it, but it's true. And patience maybe a bit more, and then yeah, it's gonna come. Either this year or early next year, it's gonna come, and he's got the mindset for sure, and he's got the speed. So everything's gonna hopefully come soon.
I would just like to take a picture of you guys without getting in the way of the camera.
Do we have another question? Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, and best of luck.